Hello, how's it going? I thought I would jump on and just share my experience doing a 3-day juice cleanse. I'd never done a juice cleanse before, and actually, I had a weird relationship with juice and fruit ever since 2009 when I did a Candida diet. So that was removing all forms of sugar, all fruit, everything from gluten, dairy, soy sauce, anything from it. It was like this crazy diet, and also like no alcohol. And I did that for 9 months, and I felt absolutely like amazing. It's actually what inspired me to stop drinking again a couple years ago. So the juice, I've heard about juicing. I love, just kind of biohacking and seeing what things have a reaction on me or not, but I'd never really done juicing because fruit and fruit juice, as I mentioned, it was just kind of demonized during this Candida diet back in 2009. If you don't know what Candida is, it's basically a yeast overgrowth in your stomach. So all this stuff that we're hearing about gut health, it's related to that. And actually they're finding that a lot of diseases are facilitated by a Candida overgrowth in your intestines or maybe caused by it. So they're finding links between like cancer and stuff. So it's super interesting. And that cleanse was incredible. But, the no sugar, no fruit thing, I just never really got back to having a relationship with fruit until this last year and traveling around. I did start eating fruit, and here in Panama, where I've been since January, I've been eating fruit every day. I'm trying to get back into fruit because I know it's not bad for me. So my friend Atticus Mooney, who you can find at Embodied Genius, was running this virtual retreat. So it was a movement of juicing and movement, which is totally up my street. She's an amazing movement facilitator and dancer, and I've taken lots of her workshops and danced with her in Indonesia and Guatemala. So when she was running this, virtual retreat, at first I said, no, I don't have enough time. And then I thought it was kind of crazy because I've been on this like draconian lockdown, and she was like, hey, like maybe you should try something new. And I was like, do you know what? You're right. So saying that it's very difficult to get juices here. And I was going to try to make smoothies and then realized that there was a juicer here at the apartment that I'm staying. So I went out during my allotted 2-hour window, which I get 3 times a week that I'm allowed to go shopping here in Panama, and bought, 50 pounds worth of fruit and veg. It was kind of crazy. And embarked on this like juicing adventure. What I was meant to do was to eat really clean and remove things like caffeine and any processed foods a couple days before. I did not do that. I was having coffee and pasta right up until the final hour before I went to bed the night before the cleanse. So my experience during the 3 days was, predicated on the fact that I hadn't really eaten clean like I was meant to before the couple of days, and also caffeine and coffee, I'm super addicted, and I just own it. I'm allowed one addiction, right? Actually I have 2, but yeah, coffee. So over the 3 days I was dealing with a caffeine withdrawal, and also I hadn't cleaned my system out as much as I could have before the juice cleanse, and I was assuming that juicing would make me feel a lot different physically. But what I wasn't prepared for, and what Atticus, kind of knew this journey would be like, was there's a lot of emotional stuff that comes up. And I loved the way she facilitated this, because we had a movement class every morning, and she does these really cool, shaking sessions, but, also free movement and stuff. So, it's great because, you're in the privacy of your own home, so you can just totally let loose. And then every evening we had a get together where we talked about how we were feeling, and she had this amazing workbook, and the emotions that came out of me through this process were really surprising to me. And over the course of a couple days, I released, some massive like knot in my right shoulder, which has been there for months, and it's actually transferred to my left shoulder, like during one of the shaking sessions. And then she facilitated like a movement thing about anger, and it started coming out of me, and I didn't draw the connection between the anger and the frustration I was feeling. But, I have been trying to stay as positive as possible in the situation that I'm in right now. I'm, creating the Unrestricted project, which brings me so much joy, and I love it. But, not having the ability to do silks, not having the ability to leave the house when I want, not having the ability to sit in the sun, it's taking every, spiritual lesson that I've learned over the last couple years to try to stay in a positive mindset. And for the most part, I do that. But, the group and Atticus, and this journey helped me to realize that I was kind of in a rut in a way. So it was great to have this kind of 3 days of just doing something completely differently, and then realizing by the end of the 3 days, oh, okay, here's some things that I can do to shake it up and feel like I have a creative outlet again. So I'm really grateful for that. From a physical standpoint, the biggest thing for me was energy. I felt really low on energy, but I think that was more caffeine withdrawals than the juices themselves. And also emotional tiredness, right? When you realize that you have this big release or this big emotional thing that comes up that you have to deal with, that can be really draining. So I felt tired. On day 2, I felt quite hungry. But I think that was more emotional hunger. I tend to eat my feelings. So when I got done with the podcast, normally I'd celebrate with eating something. So I didn't have that available to me. I just had, things to drink. And also the massive desire to chew. And I'd be drinking my juice, and a little piece of mint or carrot that didn't, it slipped past the filter would get in there, and I'd just be chewing it massively and just savoring it. Which is interesting because anyone that's ever eaten a meal with me knows that I don't chew, I inhale my food. So, and it's something that I've always been really aware of, but not really sure how to do something about. So, we're allowed to have, an avocado if we were really struggling, half an avocado. So on day 2, I ate half an avocado when I was really struggling, and I was just I just finished my podcast. I want to celebrate. I want to eat. I feel like I want to chew. I'm really hungry. Had half an avocado, and it was just amazing to me how I savored every bite, and I really took a long time to chew because I knew it was going to be over soon. And also I kind of broke the rules. I got myself a whole avocado. And halfway through, I was do you know what? I'm kind of feeling full from this. I don't know if I need to continue. So it was just a lot more presence about how I ate, and this desire to chew. When I have the opportunity to chew, I don't necessarily take it as much as I could. So that was all super interesting and crazy to go through in 3 days. The things that have been really impactful for me on this journey since I left London, I never realized the emotional stuff that will come up and the opportunities to deal with these layers of things that I've just compacted and numbed for a really long time. And, having a great facilitator that gets you moving, which is really important, and kind of also understands the emotional benefits of doing something like this, and coupling that with the movement was super powerful, and got me to visualize and imagine, what do I want over the next 6 months, realistic to what we know, which is we know nothing. And also, just the clarity with the new creative outlet that I can start exploring that doesn't require me to go to a you know, 30-foot ceiling with a silk hanging from it, because I've really missed having the creative outlet, not having silks. You know, that was a way that I could express my body, and dancing in my bedroom hasn't really delivered the same thing. So I've got a new idea for a creative outlet I could do alongside the unrestricted stuff, of course. So yeah, if you are thinking about doing juicing, I would recommend doing research, or you can check out Atticus's 3-day virtual retreat, which is coupled with movement. And like, I felt a lot more supported in that, and it was really great to have other people going through the same thing. So if you've never done it before, I'd maybe recommend doing something like that, because I don't know if I would have had the same kind of experience if I'd just done it on my own, or just not, you know, not had the prompts, not had the movement, and just done the juicing. Because I wasn't doing this to lose weight, you know. I'm trapped here with my parents. I don't need to look good for anyone. I'm feeling okay too. So it wasn't a weight thing for me. It was like a new experience, try something new, be adventurous, be unrestricted. So that would be my recommendation. Also, if you're gonna make your own juice, I thought it was gonna be like cool to just like freestyle throughout the cleanse and be like, oh, I feel like some carrots now, let me just whip that up. But actually it's quite time intensive, at least with the juicer we have, because there's a lot of cleanup involved. So by the end of day 1, I ended up bulk making all the juices for the rest of the weekend, and that was awesome. I definitely preferred the homemade juices over the store-bought juice, which they were still fresh made and locally here in Panama, but I just preferred the homemade juice a lot more, and I was able to make combinations that were interesting to me and that I liked. So yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to explore, and if I do it again, I will definitely do the clean eating and the lead up to it. I think I would probably have more physical benefits from that. You know, when I had my first food today, I chewed the hell out of it. So that was kind of crazy, because, you know, even when I was sitting at the computer eating watermelon, which was the first thing that I had today, I really chewed it. And I think just removing chewing from a couple days made me like very aware of chewing. And then I had a salad, and, you know, it took me a lot longer than it would normally to eat like a massive salad, because I was chewing, you know, maybe twice as much. And I could probably chew like 4 times as much, to be fair. So that was cool. And also, I had a cup of coffee today, but I didn't really think about it as much as I do. And by this time, it's like 4:30 here in Panama. I would have had 3 to 4 coffees by this point today. I've only had one, and I almost forgot about it at one point. And I had it much later in the day than I normally do. So that was cool. I did put up a lot of resistance to the idea of quitting coffee. So it's just like, I'm in prison, please let me just have my coffee. I don't really see like a negative impact on coffee on my life right now, but I am gonna keep an eye on it and see. But for the moment, I enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep drinking it. So yeah, that's my update. You know, emotional volcano over the couple days, but by the end of it, was feeling super positive, super fired up, really excited about this new avenue that I'm going to explore, which I'm not going to tell you about now because it's going to sound silly, but you'll be able to see some of the stuff that I'll be doing, you know, as a creative outlet in the coming days and weeks and however long, because it's just, you know, always good to have a creative project outside of your work stuff that you can focus on and that you can enjoy and that's just for you, you know. So I was lacking that in my life, and I realized that. And also, you know, I've been in the same place. I'm essentially trapped here. There's a flight ban. So the group, the girls in the group suggested, you know, maybe you should change up your space. And I was like, I don't even know how I can do that. And they suggested flowers. So isn't it pretty? I have flowers. It's made a massive difference. So now I'm just waffling. So yeah, that's my juice journey. I will do it again. And you should totally check out at Embodied Genius on Instagram. That's my friend Atticus. She's running these once a month as part of the new moon. So really cool to go on this journey with other women and just have it facilitated in this way. So yeah, lots of love. Happy Tuesday.